The small Central American country of Belize is unique in many ways. A literal melting pot of cultures, races, and languages, Belize is a peaceful democracy in a politically unstable region. Formerly known as British Honduras, Belize is located on the eastern coastline of Central America and bordered by Mexico and Guatemala. Part of the Yucatan Peninsula, the region has been home to the Maya for over 3,000 years and is dotted with the ruins of their spectacular ancient cities. From the barrier reef and coastal mangrove swamps to the low-lying wetlands and forested mountains of the interior, the natural beauty of Belize is second to none. And for 1 month, Belize was home for the Kentucky Air National Guard's Civil Engineering Squadron. As part of an ongoing humanitarian relief effort, coordinated through the U.S. Embassy in Belize City, the Kentuckians were invited to provide 2 of 4 rotations, with units from Arizona and Massachusetts providing 1 each. The unit would be undertaking 5 projects. At some of the job sites, the Kentucky Guardsmen were assisted by troops from the Belizean Defense Force, and all supplies and materials were purchased from local suppliers. Perhaps the most visible project, at least in the eyes of the local civilian population, was the extensive remodeling of the outpatient clinic at the Belize City Hospital.
The job we've got here is we're putting an addition to the porch out front, and what that's going to do is going to help the people out to get out of the sun. What they have right now, they have benches inside of the clinic, and what we're doing is we're putting an overhead porch with it, and people are going to be able to sit on their benches and get out of the sun, and I think it's going to help them out a whole lot. Give them more room inside, and also starting next week over here, we're going to put another room addition on for them so they have even more room. Anything that we don't get finished, next crew comes in, they'll get to finish it.
Our group was the second group that came in, and we followed the first group. We finished the outside work. There was a couple sideboards to put on and the trim. The roof was on, but we had to go back and flash it. And inside we had to finish paneling. We put the floor in and trimmed it out. This building is 100 years old, and it's been through 3 hurricanes and is still standing. Everything in it is pretty rough and pretty dirty. A lot of nothing is really like we're common to working with. Things on center. Everything is just wherever you can find it, and a lot of stuff has to be scabbed in to make it work. On some of the things where we had to put up 1 piece of paneling, we'd probably have 3 hours of preparation just to put up the 1 piece, which normally would be about a 15-minute job.
Two of the projects were closely connected to the Belizean Defense Force. The construction of a concrete and block warehouse at the Price Barracks compound, and the sprucing up of a militia house in downtown Belize City. The warehouse was started on a previous deployment by the Arizona Air Guard. This proud, hard-working group from Kentucky took it as a personal challenge to complete the project.
We had to change our schedule on this particular project because if we waited until the roof was on to pour the concrete, we wouldn't be able to pour the concrete. We'd run out of time. So we went ahead with the concrete pour on Friday of last week, and we went ahead with the electrical and got it completed. And unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get the metal on the roof, but we have the trusses in place. And there's another team from Massachusetts arriving here the 21st, about an hour after we leave. And the team from Massachusetts will be tasked to put the metal on and finish this project.
In the meantime, the crew at the militia house faced several obstacles, not the least of which was deciding where to begin. After all, this was a project that had been turned down by previous guard units because of the sheer size of the job. The overall condition of the building was simply overwhelming. Rotting wood, peeling paint, and an outdated electrical system were merely starting points.
Well, first place, when we came out here, we've had a lot of cleaning up to do. The grass was knee-high. There was junk scattered all over the compound. I think it's coming along great, considering everything. I'm pleased with the way it's turned out, and probably it's going to look great whenever we get through with it. The white paint has just did wonders to the old dull gray, and all the trim's going to be green. And I really believe it's going to look good.
What it is, I think it's the weather down here where they got hit by the hurricane and back in '61, and they haven't done nothing, and termites took over. Termites hit the stage. It hit all the roof rafters. We had to replace some of that and get it stabilized as best we could. We asked for materials that they do not have. They don't have the stuff like we have back in the States. Right now we're in the patching ceilings, and we don't know how long it's going to last. It's not what we use to patch it. They don't have the materials like we use back at home.
Other hard-working participants in this deployment were food services and medical personnel. Staff Sergeant Walt Rich talks about some of the unique situations faced by the food service staff.
Well, we've concocted different types of beef stew using some local spices, and food that we ordered, when it come in, it wasn't what we expected, so we had to change it around on the preparation. We thought we was going to have the breaded chicken. Instead, we have to have baked chicken, and that's a trip trying to use their ovens over there. But we've had changed menus around a little bit, like I said, but I think we've made it diverse enough that they didn't get the same thing over and over except for breakfast and lunch. Supper has been different.
There were two other humanitarian civic action projects: renovation work at the retirement home in Hattieville and the starting of a major construction project at the mental hospital in Rockview. Also on this deployment was Master Sergeant Dick Eafley of the Iowa Air National Guard, who served as the job supervisor on the Hattieville project.
What we ended up doing was all the rooms were basically just a studded type wall. A lot of dirt, a lot of spiders, a lot of bugs. We went in and hung masonite over that, kind of finished it off, kind of cleaned up while we were out there. Redone some lighting, put in some fluorescent lights, put in some incandescent lights, kind of redone the living area, which was kind of a living room area. That should have been better for them. Ended up painting the entire outside of the building, put a fence around the outside of it.
At the Rockview Mental Hospital, the crew began a major construction project, a brand new facility that would provide a much-needed service for the families of the Rockview patients. Senior Master Sergeant Dick Lowe of the Military Liaison Office explains.
It's a home that families that can use when they come down here to have to, get one of their family members admitted here to this hospital. So it'll be a home that's used strictly for that. Something very needed down here at the mental hospital here in Rockview.
In addition to plenty of hard work, this deployment exemplified the concept of teamwork. Master Sergeant Tony Hettinger comments.
The adaptability of these people is really amazing sometimes because everybody cooperated. It's just a whole group that went in there to help for this, just voluntary. It wasn't their technical job, but they felt they had a stake in it because their name was on the line. So that's where it counts when the times get hard. It's not when it's easy as who performs, it's when things get a little bit rough who performs. That's what counts.
The members of the 123rd Civil Engineering Squadron take great pride in their work and their many achievements. But the humanitarian nature of this deployment provided an additional sense of accomplishment.
Most everything we do is humanitarian. Most of the times what we're doing is actually improving conditions one way or the other. What we call humanitarian, which is this down here, I think there's a great amount of pride in doing these jobs down here. We enjoy doing the other jobs as far as like going to Reno, going to DC. We've been practically everywhere. I think there's a better pride or more pride when we come down here and we know that this is a developing country.
This has been a real good experience. I think everybody in the unit feels the same way because you can see that we're helping these people out, and from the looks of the people, I think they appreciate it. Makes you feel real good. I'm happy to do it.
Just